Surprising news about last year's Occupy Houston protests. Good evening, everyone. I'm Don Teague. Melinda is off. There was trouble at the Port of Houston last year when protesters held on to each other through large pieces of PVC pipe. Officers had to work hard to get them apart and eventually get that scene cleared. Well, Fox 26's Isaiah Carey is in the newsroom now to tell us how some police officers may have actually been behind that disruptive protest. Isaiah?
Well, Don, was it infiltration or sabotage or just some undercover police officers out to protect the community and ours? That's the question being asked tonight as more comes out about the port protest where members of Occupy Houston are now facing felony criminal charges.
Is what the future looks like.
It was a visual that made headlines. Protesters from Occupy Houston connected themselves in what's called dragon sleeves. PVC pipe connected their bodies. Their goal was to block the entrance of the Port of Houston.
Fair wages!
If it weren't for the pipe, those protesters who were arrested by HPD last December would have been hit with a simple misdemeanor. But because the so-called dragon sleeve device was used, the charge was elevated under Texas law to the use of a criminal instrument, a felony.
It was his big mouth that got him down here.
Attorney Greg Gladden is referring to Austin police officer Shannon Dow here in file video. Gladden, who represents one of the protesters, says they were set up by Dow, one of three undercover Austin police officers seen here in Arab garb. Gladden says the officers infiltrated Occupy Austin, the same Occupy group that ended up in Houston at the port. The attorney says protesters gave the officers money, but the trio designed and built the device that led to the elevated criminal charges in Houston.
Doyle was bragging to the wrong people about setting these kids up, and they tipped us off.
Officer Dow was ordered to appear in court in Houston but did not testify. His assistant police chief was also in Houston but said little to clear up his officer's role and why they infiltrated the group in Austin.
Apparently, some items were taken from Austin to the Port of Houston and used here that were connected to an undercover operation in Austin.
Those who were a part of the Occupy Austin movement claim Officer Dow specifically encouraged them to ramp up their protest efforts.
This man would attend our meetings, pull me aside and say we need to do more aggressive actions.
That device, the dragon sleeve, allegedly the brainchild of the Austin officers, infuriated the Harris County judge hearing the case against the protesters. She said she was floored by the officers' involvement, officers who allegedly went undercover for the good of all.
It was determined that plainclothes officers blending with the surroundings was necessary for the safety of the participants and the community.
Now, we're awaiting a response from the Houston Police Department and their reaction to what the officers allegedly did. And of course, we will keep you updated. In the newsroom, Isaiah Carey, Fox 26 News.
Harris County deputies are looking for